this is an interesting class. There's a lot of scat backs, a lot of pass catching backs, a lot of undersized backs with a lot of talent. And then there's Bijan Robinson. So Justin, I want you to tell me, how much better is Bijan Robinson than the next back? Because the hyperbole on it is ridiculous.
Right. And I gotta agree with it too, which, buy into the hype. I think he's leaps and bounds better than the next best running back. He's fantastic at the line of scrimmage. He's almost just like a pure, complete running back. He's got great vision. He gets through holes that look too small, even though he's kind of a bigger back. He's got a solid receiving profile. He doesn't have a complete route tree because he was a college running back. They don't really ask him to do that much, but you'll find him coming out of the slot. He'll run post routes, and then he'll do the normal dump off screen wheel stuff. And I try to stay realistic with rookie running backs, especially because I don't really dig in until like February or March. I'm usually a little late to the game because I'm doing other stuff, or maybe I have like a little bit of the Super Bowl hangover. But everything I've dug into with Bijan is incredible. I really think he's the real deal. I think he could be an immediate top 15 back. He could be an immediate top 10 back, and he could probably outshoot that too, honestly.
I love rookie running backs. One thing, Jen, editing my articles for years upon years, knows that I love me some rookie running backs. Jen, have you bought into the Bijan Robinson hype?
I have and I haven't. I've bought into the hype as him being, the best running back in the class, above, clear, all that. Yes, hype there. ADP of 13, I don't know if I'm buying into that.
That's pretty high.
I don't think that I'm going to draft him there. It's too scary, and there's too many other players right there with, your opportunity cost. Just, I don't know. It's a little scary for me. Now, it depends on his landing spot. If he lands somewhere that he's guaranteed to have this lead back role and guaranteed to, put up the numbers of a, borderline first to second round draft pick, then possibly. But late second round, early third, sure. But where he's going now, that's just too much for me. Way too rich.
I can't imagine a landing spot would make his ADP go up.
No,
right?
He can't. I don't know who you leapfrog there for where he is. He's already way too high for me. But
it's like Atlanta.
I wrote down the Falcons.
Atlanta. But then is he going higher than 13?
No,
you got to think that he's being drafted, assuming he lands in the best possible spot now, right?
What's the 13th? Like the RB, like the RB9,
probably 5 or so.
No, you're looking at what? McCaffrey, Eckler. Who
because receivers and Kelsey are going high,
so. Right? So he's like. Here, I'll tell you actually right now.
Yeah. But Bijan, I'm going to buy in and redraft. I definitely am. By the time we get there, I'm going to talk myself in, and he's going to be ranked like 4th for me because that's who I am as a person. And he reminds me of Saquon Barkley, and I got very excited about Saquon Barkley. So
big Barkley vibes, honestly. And a lot of people have mocked him to the Commanders. I forgot what Washington was called. Yeah, and that's kind of a terrible landing spot. It's good in the long term, but we got the 2 Robinsons there now, and then Gibson's still there. I feel like that should depress his ADP, if anything, if he lands in Washington.
So just so you guys know, he's RB4. So you got McCaffrey, Taylor, Eckler, and him.
Okay, wow.
And then you've got Saquon extreme. And then Ken Walker. So I don't know. That's extremely rich.
4 is okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. give me him an RB4. Give me that. Look. You give me.
We'll check back with you.
You give me 3 months to talk myself into this. He'll be RB1 by the time we.
He'll be the RB1. Yeah. He'll be the
101. So outside of redraft, I want to check in real quick on Dynasty, Justin, because I know you and I both played Dynasty. Is he? Obviously, he's the 1.01 in rookie drafts. Is that the case even in Superflex formats?
Yes.
Okay.
For me, yes. I honestly think so. The type of upside he has, and I understand that the quarterbacks clearly have upside too. They're quarterbacks in the NFL. They have upside, especially like Anthony Richardson has tons of upside. But taking Bijan at the 101, if you're looking at even like a value play, if he performs anywhere near what we think he'll perform at, he'll be worth a 101 and more next year. So if he's the RB, some places have him as the RB1 in Dynasty already. Hasn't even been drafted yet. So if you can take him at the 101 and immediately flip him for a different 101 and a first, like, so you almost have to. I think he has the upside to be a top 5 running back. I don't know if RB1 it seems a little rich. He hasn't even played it down yet. But that costs so much in Dynasty that I think that you almost have to take him at the 101 if you have the opportunity. And you probably have a terrible team too if you have the 101, unless you traded a boatload for it. And now you have a top 5 running back. It's a great way to rebuild your team. So I think he is the 101, even in Superflex.
Makes sense. Yeah. The counter there is that if you have the 1.01 and a terrible team, you probably need a quarterback really bad in a Superflex. But
that's a good point too.
But I'm with you. I'm still taking Bijan Robinson. I think that makes perfect sense to me. All right. Do you have like a favorite landing spot for Robinson, Justin? Like ideal circumstances, everything goes your way. Where would you want him to land for fantasy purposes?
The best thing that could possibly happen to Bijan Robinson is that the Chargers can't come to terms with Eckler, so they ship him off and take Bijan Robinson.
That sounds perfect. That sounds very ideal.
The perfect
Where
scenario.
are they shipping him? Like, where's Eckler going? In this fantasy of yours?
I don't know. He doesn't want to be there, apparently. So
no, I know, but I'm just curious where in this dream scenario, where do you
Cincinnati, clearly. Cincinnati. They get rid of Mixon, they ship for Eckler,
Yeah. He'd pair well with Mixon too, honestly. So
let's just get rid of Mixon.
Let's just get rid of Mixon
from the NFL altogether.
Yeah, we don't need get him out of here.
We don't need him.
Where would you like to see Bijan Robinson, Chen?
I wrote down the Falcons. I mean, it's kind of the common, normal answer there, but I mean, I don't know if Tyler Algier is the guy, right? And Cordero Patterson is kind of so yeah, I think that team, as we all know, is young and rebuilding, so that would make sense, right? It would be a nice piece to add to what they have going on.
I'm hoping that Falcons team is good. I have way too many shares of Desmond Ridder and Drake London and all those guys. I need that to happen.
I have been investing in Taylor Heineke, so I'm hoping Desmond Ridder is not good. Because I've been grabbing a lot of him in Superflex at the end because I just don't think Desmond Ridder. Listen,
look, I take this as a personal affront. That's what I take.
In Superflex. So not in like regular, not in regular best ball or not in redraft for sure. But in Superflex, absolutely. Like round 19, 20, grab some Taylor Heineke just in case. I mean, do you really think Desmond Ridder is the answer? You think he's going to make it all 18 games?
That's future Hall of Famer Desmond Ridder. Thank you very much. No, you're absolutely right. It's wildly up in the air. Like I have a lot of Dynasty Sam Howell and Desmond Ridder, and I just
I have a lot of Jacoby Brissett. So I'm the anti-you in this situation.
I need one of those guys to pan. The other one can stink, and you can win your redraft league. I need at least one of them to pan out for me.
We're not talking redraft here, Brandon. Once again, I am not taking Jacoby.
Sorry, best ball. Yeah.
Yes. Let's be clear to the listeners. I'm not taking Jacoby Brissett or Taylor Heineke in redraft. We're talking Superflex best ball.
Yeah, only. My mistake. Sure. Absolutely. And those are good picks in Superflex to best ball. Absolutely. Okay, let's go to Jahmyr Gibbs. I think we've talked Bijan Robinson. We love him. He's lovely. Jahmyr Gibbs, the clear-cut fantasy RB2 seems to be, at least on most draft boards, from Alabama. Justin, is it clear cut? Is there any argument you want to make for him not being the RB2? And what is there to like about him?
I mean, I don't know that he's a clear cut RB2.
No,
particularly after we'll see where he goes. He's just, I don't know. I don't see him as like a complete back. He's a very good like zone runner. If he lands somewhere that's like a zone heavy approach, I think he'll kill it. He's kind of small, just in general, like small frame. He's like
He's not like Soapy though. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he's not like Soapy small. He's not like 5.
Soapy was a pre-show discussion. Soapy is the nickname of the smallest player ever to play in the NFL, a fullback who was 5'1" in 1929. Soapy was the nickname. Just to fill in the listener real quick.
We'll come up with the name. Jack Shapiro is Sal says is his name.
Jack Shapiro. I love it.
I feel like Shapiro.
Yeah. I feel like Jahmyr Soapy Gibbs works real well. We could call him Soapy Gibbs.
Hey,
I like it.
Let's get it going.
That's us right here.
5'9", $199. I like that.
A little smaller. So the thing is, and everyone's got almost all running backs have an issue with pass protection in college. It is what it is. But some stuff I pulled up while looking at Jahmyr Gibbs earlier. There's 107 draft eligible running backs in the FBS last season. Gibbs ranked 91st in pass blocking grade. If we cut that down just to the 50 backs who are in pass protection the most often, he's still ranked 42nd. He's kind of hard to watch when he's protecting someone. So if he's like the smaller guy, small frame guy, if they're not going to put him in early down snaps and he's not going to get third down snaps because he can't pass protect, it kind of worries me about how useful he's going to be as a rookie. So he is the consensus RB2 at the moment, but I don't know. We'll have to see where he lands, I think. What if he's like a 120 touch guy in his rookie year? That's kind of pointless.
Okay. So would you be looking at like a Zach Charbonnet over him because he profiles more as a 3 down?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
It is interesting how much pass protection ends up determining snap count when you're a rookie. It is interesting how much that makes a difference. Jen, have you formed an opinion about Jahmyr Gibbs?
I thought I did, but Justin just talked me out of it. So, I was kind of like, well, he'd be decent in PPR formats. You know, he's a late 5th rounder right now. And I was like, I'd gamble there. But now I'm kind of like, no, I don't know that I'm gambling there. I think he's
an explosive player. He's fun to watch for sure, but yeah.
And he'll likely go 2nd round in the draft. So I think we might see a lot of like James Cook comparisons post-draft. Like I
love me some James Cook.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
My favorite thing is people, every time I hear somebody talk about Jahmyr Gibbs, they talk about his wiggle. And it's my favorite thing because they talk about it like it's a noun. Like they'll say
his wiggle.
Yeah, they'll say like he's got some of the best wiggle in this draft, and you watch his wiggle when he comes. It's just I enjoy wiggle a lot as a noun within the context.
Sounds spicy,
yes, right? Absolutely. All right. So Zach Charbonnet, we talked about him. What makes him an every down back, Justin?
I mean, he's a big guy. He's almost the exact opposite kind of frame as Gibbs has. He's got a large frame. He split his gap his team split his gap and zone runs almost right down the middle. Unlike Gibbs, who ran a majority of his stuff through zone, Charbonnet was used in all sorts of run schemes. In the receiving game, Charbonnet is useful. He's not as explosive as Gibbs is. Like that's like Gibbs' calling card. Charbonnet's good. He's got like soft hands. You can watch him catch the ball and it's exciting. Whatever. He's not as explosive as Gibbs. But his 37 receptions last year were the 5th most amongst draft eligible running backs. He led college football in EPA per carry last year. His best comparable player profile is DeMarco Murray. And
interesting.
Yeah, that might not sound exciting for those of us, for those out there that are maybe a little younger than us, but DeMarco Murray was a beast in fantasy.
DeMarco Murray was amazing. People don't know DeMarco Murray. He was great.
He ran he's been out of the league for like 5 years. People forget that stuff.
I'm so old, man.
It's been more than 5 years, hasn't it, or no?
I think it was 2019.
Oh wow!
It might be longer than that. You might be right.
That's sad, but I mean, yeah, I absolutely. And then, it was great.
Yeah.
I think trying to think of who said it. I think Josh Norris's comparables were like Matt Forte and James Conner. So like we've got DeMarco Murray, Matt Forte, and James Conner.
Yeah.
As like our biggest comparables.
Fantasy gold.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like Charbonnet's just built like an every down back. I don't know. I think over the last week or two, looking more into this stuff, I think Charbonnet is probably my running back too.
Okay, interesting.
He just seems more exciting.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Justin, I haven't done my homework like I usually have, but it seems to me like this is a class full of complementary pieces. Is there anyone else out there, like we know Bijan and we know Charbonnet are both those 3 down caliber players. Is there anyone else out there that should be on our radar with that type of ability, or is everyone else pretty much complementary?
The only guy that, just from what I've looked at, the only guy that really pops out to me is Tank Bigsby. He's kind of a between the tackles guy, but he did catch 50 passes over the last 2 seasons, so he at least has that in his bag. He seems like he could be an all-around runner. PFF's comp was TJ Yeldon, which isn't super exciting, but that's a guy who was at least given a shot to be a 3-down back.
Yeah.
So maybe Tank Bigsby has a shot. I think I'm trying to think of like what draft capital I've even seen out of him. Maybe like
I've seen him late.
He might be like a 4th.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I've seen him as high as late day 2. And as
okay.
You know, so 3rd, 4th round probably.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's not bad for a fantasy piece.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that,
ideal running back name. I mean, if I'm picking a name for a running back, I want my running back to be named Tank. So
Tank,
he is
exactly.
RB 58 right now with a ADP of 188.2.
Okay. That's actually higher than I expected for a mid-rounder. So interesting enough. Isn't that TJ's guy? Doesn't TJ Hernandez like Tank as a dart throw in late best ball?
I don't know. I don't think so. I
thought he was in your round table.
What?
He did. Who did he do for the round table?
Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe it was him. I don't know. I don't remember.
Let's
There's been a lot written in the last week. I don't remember.
Right.
Let's revisit the other part of that who'd you rather that we talked about earlier. Devon Achane, college playmaker. That's kind of what he was known for in college. So kind of we talk about Charbonnet being the number 2 behind Bijan Robinson. Achane is kind of the number 2 behind Jahmyr Gibbs as far as stylistically and prototype goes. Are you bullish on Achane and what his skill set brings to the NFL? What he can do? Can he does it translate, Justin?
I mean, I think I think the highest probability outcome is that he's a good football player and isn't a lot of like, I think he'll probably be someone that you probably talk about a lot, because I think he's going to be like a returner.
Oh yeah,
he'd make a fantastic kick returner.
Mm-hmm.
He's super explosive, but he needs to be in an offensive scheme that's like horizontal in nature, like super outside zone, like San Francisco or Miami. He would actually be pretty interesting with the Dolphins, honestly.
Yeah.
But if he goes to something that doesn't fit his play style, he's going to end up being, I think, like a special teams guy, someone who might sometimes get to like 10 touches a game. So I think he's kind of off the radar in fantasy, for me at least.
He's
like an explosive guy.
He's one of the guys I see the most disparate reports on him. Like people love him and people hate him as a pro prospect. I'm really curious. Jen, do you have an opinion on where you land somewhere on Devon Achane?
I kind of agree with Justin. I feel like he's going to be a good real life football player. I don't know about fantasy. I mean, he's pretty cheap. So, I mean, in best ball, you can roll the dice and depending on landing spot, he may, work his way up a depth chart, or someone may get hurt and he might get an opportunity. I wouldn't invest too much in him, but I feel like, I mean, any of these rookies, right? Given the right opportunity, you never know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's talk about, I've gone through kind of the top 4 running backs. I feel like after that, there's this huge cluster of backs that everybody kind of likes or doesn't like, and everybody kind of has their own opinion. That might be the area where fantasy analysts are able to kind of differentiate themselves, or I was high on this one and not this one. Jen, do you have any of these other running backs that are out there that really stands out to you, someone that you like and you're really watching for where they land?
Yes, I've got a couple names that I'll throw out there at you. Roschon Johnson, right? The other Longhorn running back. Everyone's all fired up, of course, about Robinson, but Johnson is super cheap. He's a 15th rounder right now. He's a big dude. He's versatile. He's not going to be a fantasy RB1, right, by any means. But like I was saying earlier, one of those guys that he could find himself in the RB 2/3 range, given the right opportunity. So I think he's someone that a lot of people aren't really talking about because of Robinson, but him. And then another guy I'm going to throw out at you, which is completely random and out of left field. Well, it's not that random for me. Is going to be Kenny McIntosh. Nobody's talking about him. He found himself right. He was behind James Cook and Jahmyr White, at Georgia for a couple of years. Last year, he was given the reins himself, and he had 10 touchdowns, 829 yards, in an offense that didn't do. There were also other backs there. He was the lead back, but Georgia always has several back system. That's just the way they work. It's always a committee there. So I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on him. Obviously I'm a homer and I happen to watch every play. So I know that he's good, and it's kind of like how I felt about James Cook last year. People were sleeping on him and I'm like, I've watched this guy every single game. So, once again, not a fantasy RB1 or anything crazy like that, but a later round guy that could find himself in a decent position given the right opportunity.
Excellent. I like that. He's not really been on my radar. I'll be watching where he lands now. Kenny McIntosh, also a good name. That's a good running back name.
It is too, yeah.
Justin, anyone you're eyeing? They're outside of the top 4.
There's a couple. I've been looking into Sean Tucker a lot over the last month or two. He didn't register anything in the combine because he wasn't medically cleared. But he's supposed to do his pro day this coming Monday. So we should be able to have some athletic measurables on him.
He's the Syracuse kid, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, okay. Yeah. He had a 15.8% target share last year, which is 95th percentile among running backs.
Wow.
Like way more target usage than we're used to seeing from a college running back. He racked up 2,500 yards and 23 touchdowns on Syracuse the last 2 years. That offense ranked 7th and 11th in the SEC. So he was the offense. So it's interesting to see how NFL teams pick up on that. One more guy, UAB's Dwayne McBride visited with the Jets on Monday, which is kind of interesting that he would even be meeting with teams right now. He led all of the FBS last year with 4.6 yards after contact per attempt. He finished his career with the 3rd highest forced missed tackle rate amongst FBS running backs since 2014. He also caught 5 catches over the last 2 years. So he's just a giant dude who's going to be a between the tackles guy. Maybe he lands somewhere and he ends up falling in the end zone a few times. Maybe he's a future goal line back. He's an interesting one to look at.
I like it. You think a day 3, he'd be a day 3 guy?
Probably. I don't think he's going to be catching any passes anytime soon.
Interesting. I like it. I like these names. I really like Israel Abanikanda from Pittsburgh, just because the athletic profile is just tantalizing. He's one of the most athletic players, not just in this draft, but ever to come out as a running back. Like, his athletic profile is off the charts. I like running backs that keep their legs churning. And when you watch him on film, no matter how many guys are on him, his legs are moving forward, which is something that I always notice about a college running back. He's always he's decisive, hits the hole. If he lands in somewhere like San Francisco, I know he'll be buried on the depth chart, but that type of offense, or Houston, so that type of offense, if he can get an opportunity, he's a great one cut, see the hole, hit it, and just comes downhill like a tank. So Israel Abanikanda is what I'm watching. He's super young too. Yeah, super young.
I see like another, you said when you talked about his legs, it's like in my brain I'm like another hamster.
Hamster.
Some other, I don't know, not muscle hamster or whatever hamster, but a different hamster.
An Izzy hamster.
A variation.
I like
yes.
it. I like having like a team of hamster related nicknames for the NFL.
Add like a different adjective to start, or add, and there you go.
Like, we could have like muscle hamster, like ballerina hamster, like all kinds of different ones. I like
bowling ball hamster. I don't know.
Bowling ball hamster. Bowling ball hamster. That's got to be Maurice Jones-Drew, right? Like bowling ball hamster. That's got to be who that is. Yeah. I like it. All right. So what about the flip side, Jen? Somebody you're not drafting. One of these rookie running backs could be someone we've talked about already, someone that you are just staying clear of.
Yeah, we already kind of went there, but Bijan Robinson, I cannot pay.
Based on cost.
I cannot pay a 13th round draft slot. Like, if I'm on the turn, like, I just can't. I'm gonna grab, Barkley and Diggs over taking a gamble on a rookie, at least right now. I mean, like we said earlier in our discussion, I don't know if even there is a landing spot out there that would make him draft me at spot 13. So he's it would take a lot for me to pull that trigger. It would probably take an auto draft of me missing and getting him to end up with him. And listen, I could eat my words and he could be like the best rookie running back ever in the history of history, but I'm not willing to blow that opportunity cost.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing, being drafted at his ceiling. It's hard for him to outproduce that,
without playing one snap as a professional. It's tough.
Yeah, absolutely. Justin, somebody you're staying away from?
Oh, I guess no one in particular. I mean, I like Charbonnet, so I guess that kind of means I don't like Gibbs, but I'm not actively avoiding Gibbs. He could fall somewhere. I guess Gibbs. That seems a little mean. He's got a lot of, you know who it is? It's Deuce Vaughn.
Deuce Vaughn's the one you're staying away from.
It's Deuce Vaughn. I'm staying away from Deuce Vaughn.
Yeah. What don't you like about Deuce Vaughn?
He's tiny. He's a tiny running back.
Soapy. He's the new Soapy. That's how it goes. Yeah, absolutely.
Little Soapy Vaughn.
I'm rooting for Deuce Vaughn, but I'm with you. It's very concerning. He's 5'5", 176 pounds out of Kansas State. It's concerning. That size is good. That's smaller than Darren Sproles, and at least
like my 14-year-old. I'm just kidding. He's not 170 pounds, but he's close to 5'5". Yeah. I mean,
those 5'5" got 5. I don't know. I can't remember a 5'5" guy, but like Maurice Jones-Drew, we talked about was 5'7". Like Darren Sproles was 5'6", but those guys were 195, 205, like in that range. Like they had the legs
stout
to do it. I'm with you, man. Deuce Vaughn is a tough.
I can't imagine Deuce Vaughn's thighs look anything like MJD's thighs.
Yeah, right. Maurice Jones-Drew, that man's a legend. I love me some MJD. I'm dating myself with references today, by the way. Lots of
everyone
Dante
knows
Hall
MJD. He's
MJD.
He's on like NFL.
Yeah, even the kids that like played fantasy when they were in 3rd grade at that time, like they know MJD.
Good. That makes me feel better. Jen, you and I will start talking. Chris Warren and guys like that.
I mean, if you start talking Larry Zonka, then we're gonna lose people. But
yeah, that's true. Larry Zonka's before us.
I love. No, he's not before my time, sadly. But
you were watching Zonka when you were a kid.
I mean.
I'm familiar with that.
I was alive when he was playing football. Okay. Put it that way.
All right. My running backs I was watching when I first started watching. Like I saw like the Icky Woods shuffle and the Christian Okoye.
Yeah, I was like already.
Those are the first guys I remember.
I was already in high school at that point, Brandon.
Yeah, I was 3. I was 3.
Look, what we were alive. That puts us in a select group. Nowadays. So for that, shout out Icky Woods. That's.
Hey, let's get him on. He seems like a good dude.
Let's get it. We can all learn the shuffle. So I have a follow-up here that I don't have on the sheet for best landing spots, but I do want to ask your best landing spots first, and then I want to talk a little bit about it. But Jen, is there we talked a little bit about the Falcons and the Chargers if they trade Eckler. Are there any other teams that kind of stand out to you that you're kind of watching where the landing spots more than the talent will kind of draw you in a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, like we said, there's not a lot of 3-down roles open, right? I mean, we know that already. However, someone in Dallas could be interesting, right? Depending on what happens. The Falcons, we said. Cardinals, I feel like there's some room there for a body. As we said, the Bengals, I think that there's some room there as well. Those are kind of my top ish landing spots. There's a few others, but I'll save some for Justin because I'm sure he has a few.
Cardinals are interesting because I love Connor, but Connor's not exactly been an Iron Man throughout his career. That usually doesn't get better as years move on. Is
there anyone there besides we got Keontae Ingram, right?
I think that's it. Yeah. So if they, the draft capital, I think he was a 5th or 6th round pick or something. So there's no draft capital there to worry about. It's very, very interesting. Justin, other than San Diego.
Dang. Okay.
Other than the Los Angeles Chargers, I just bringing all the age issues out. That's
other than Dan Fouts. What
I know, yeah, Dan Fouts. Look, young up and comer Dan Fouts. It's
I think he goes by Dan. Actually,
yeah, that's right.
I think it's Dan.
Outside of the Chargers, getting rid of Austin Eckler, any teams that you're kind of eyeing for a good spot for some of these guys?
Oh, there's Cincy. We mentioned that already. I love the fit with Rashad Penny, but Philadelphia is still a good landing spot. Penny's been injured for half a decade now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about the Chargers. We talked about the Bengals. Jen mentioned the Cowboys. The Bears could be an interesting spot.
Oh. How dare you besmirch my Khalil Herbert stock?
Yeah, we'll see about that. In Arizona,
the Rams are always an option, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely. Yes, of course. Literally always.
Yeah.
Do they? What are their picks this year? Are they still not until the third round? That can't be right.
Yeah, no, they don't have any early picks, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think they have early picks this year. So
they have a lot of picks, but they're not early.
A tale as old as time.
So I want to ask about Kansas City, because Kansas City, obviously we had that great year by Kareem Hunt as a rookie, right? And then Kareem Hunt didn't do a whole lot. I mean, he was fine, but not what he did as a rookie later on. Andy Reid with the Chiefs, outside of that rookie year from Hunt, hasn't really leaned on a back. And I know we like Isaiah Pacheco and interesting, did some good stuff. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is still running around there.
Had a good year, right?
Yeah. Good stuff. Jerick McKinnon. Yeah. If they were to draft somebody in the first round, let's say a Gibbs or somebody other than Robinson, right? Charbonnet, anyone, first, second round, how interested are we in that player? And
super.
Are we concerned that it's just the type of offense that doesn't feature a back enough for fantasy? Or is this a really good landing spot? Because I keep coming back to the Chiefs when I'm evaluating this question.
No, I still think it's I think it's still a great landing spot. I mean, they spent the first on CEH, and I think they were just looking for something else. I don't know if they wanted to make him a bell cow, but they were looking for something else. They kind of gave him a couple of years. He didn't take it over. I mean, just looking it up, as you mentioned it, their third running back is the Michael Pirine right now.
Yeah.
So there's not a whole lot of.
Hey, Brandon loves himself on the Michael Pirine.
I did. That's what I have to say. I was just wrong on. I've given up on.
Was he Oregon?
No, I just liked him. He was just a guy I really liked out of college.
Just in general.
So, just thought he'd be a good back, and just has not been. Like I said,
they're not forget these things. You know that. I remember.
They're not. I also loved Kellen Mond, although I did say Kellen Mond had a very large range of outcomes. Like he may not ever do anything, but also loved Kellen Mond. That hasn't panned out either. We all have our hits and misses.
Yeah,
for sure.
What do you think, Jen? What do you think about a KC earlier running back?
I'm kind of on the opposite of you. Like, I just feel like there's enough evidence that we just are not going to see a super fantasy productive guy coming out of there in this offense. I mean, I feel like the offense is what it is right now, and it's working. I mean, they just won the Super Bowl. So I don't know that Andy Reid's going to really change. I mean, I think, you'd like to think that he wants, a lead back, and they wanted CEH to be that, and he wasn't, and they're still kind of looking. But then part of me is like, they don't need it. They're good. Like, they're good with whatever they have. They have a few guys that they just kind of rotate, and Pacheco, I think, will be fine. I think he's a little pricey there, though, as far as, if they stay with what they continue to do, which is a committee. I guess it would depend. I mean, if they were to spend, an early pick, then maybe we'd have to think about, that. But I don't know. I don't know that I would target. I guess it would depend on who it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just an interesting spot, but you're right. They seem to really like their little 1-2 punch with Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon, and McKinnon had like a ridiculous touchdown rate, but outside of that, neither one of them was really, really consistent. So fantasy wise, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I keep kind of landing on that. Let's flip that a little bit. What's the worst landing spot for a rookie running back? So where would you maybe a back that you like a Charbonnet or somebody like that you like, but if they land there, you just suddenly become disinterested. Justin.
Houston is one. They kind of need someone long term, but especially someone who could have 3-down potential like Charbonnet, they already have such redundant early down production with Dameon Pierce and Singletary that I think that would kind of stink. I mean, Carolina would be a bummer. They could use a younger guy, but is someone really going to take over Miles Sanders and Chuba? Yeah, there's like 15 other teams that we didn't mention. Where Tennessee would be terrible, at least for this year. Maybe in Dynasty would be an interesting spot but for redraft or best ball, if someone lands behind Derrick Henry, that would be kind of a pain in the butt, unless Henry gets injured again, of course, which is possible.
Yep. Yeah, Jen, a spot that you're just hoping that your favorite guy doesn't land.
Well, wait, that's a different question than what you just asked, right?
Well, like, no, that your favorite rookie, like you would think less because of a bad landing spot.
Okay. I mean, really the only thing I was thinking, well, they're like Justin said, there's a bunch, but I think New England would be kind of gross. I mean, there's so much murk as it is that you throw another body in there. It's like, murk. So New England for me.
What do you guys think of Buffalo? Like, I know Buffalo's supposed to be great, but they've got Cook, they've got Harris. I feel like that would just be more murk.
Yeah. I wrote down Buffalo for the question that I believe is coming up, which is, I mean, which is I guess we could move on to that, right?
Sure. Yeah. I was going to ask, what's a spot that you really don't want a team to take a running back on a day 1 or day 2 pick because you're bullish on a veteran that's in place or an existing player? I get in trouble saying veteran about second-year players, but I mean,
they're veterans.
Non-rookie. I guess not technically. I guess you don't get veteran status till year 3 or 4 or whatever.
Oh, really?
That's so I get in trouble because I'll say veterans who do this, and what I mean is non-rookies. So yeah, which is that Buffalo for you, Jen?
Yeah, I just feel like, once again, it's a situation where they don't really lean on the running back that much anyway. So then now, we've got James Cook, and we have Damian Harris, and I feel like it's enough. Like, we don't need another guy in there to screw it up. So I have them. I also threw in the Lions because I feel like it's the same boat. Like, I'm cool with Montgomery and Swift. Leave it. I like both of them where they are, and don't add another body in there.
I like it. I agree with all of those. Justin, do you have a team in mind there?
Yeah, I'm thinking Denver. If Denver takes someone, it's really going to show us what they think about Javonte Williams' health, and that would be very sad for me because I'm hoping that I know he's going to miss some games this year, I think regardless, but if they take someone, it'll be really looking dim.
I feel that, and get well, Javonte Williams. I like that kid. He's fun to watch. I hope he's really good. For me, it's Chicago because I like Khalil Herbert. I like Deontay Foreman. I like that as a 1-2 punch. I don't want them throwing another name in there. I like the situation they've got going on there. I don't want anybody else. Okay, that's so Twizzler. Did Twizzler have a team?
He's screaming, about Leonard Fournette. That's what he's always talking about.
That's what he's saying. He's saying the Bucs should re-sign Fournette. That's what he's saying.
That's what he's saying.
As
always.
The Bucs is actually a good answer for this too, because I kind of like Rachaad White, and I don't want anybody mucking with that.
I think they take someone, honestly.
They do.
They should.
Not early, but
I mean, they should add somebody.
Yeah.
That's a good Israel Abanikanda spot right there. He would pair up well with Rachaad White. You take him day 3. I like that a lot. So, all right, that's all I've got. Justin, anyone we didn't touch on that you wanted to talk about, or anyone you wanted to bring up that we didn't get to?
Not really. We touched on a lot more than I honestly thought we would.
Yeah, we did good. We are efficient, my friend. This trio, efficiency.
Not necessarily. I mean, talking about Abanikanda, we touched on him a lot. I think that was the end of my reserves, honestly. That was about everyone I've got an opinion on.
Excellent. I'll be excited. We'll have to have you on again sometime later after the draft, and chat about what's going on. We always love when you stop by. Thank you so much for coming. Any final thoughts or plugs before you go?
No, I don't think so. I'd love to be on as always. It's like talking to some buds I don't get to meet often enough.
Excellent. Be sure to follow Justin on Twitter at Justin_Redwords and read all his stuff over at 4for4.com. Thank you, Jen. Always a pleasure. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast. Listeners, you can follow us on Twitter at Jen Akins NFL, at 2guysbrandon. Thanks for checking us out and have a good day.